Well, exciting week in front of us. We've got first trip out to LA. We leave on Wednesday. Certainly excited. First time playing at USC and at UCLA. Signing weeks this week. That's always brings some excitement from that. And first day of pro volleyball practicing in Madison, so that's happening today. So a lot going on, and certainly looking forward to what's in front of us.
Kelly, the two matches out there are going to start about the time matches are normally over. Do you do any adjustments? I know your kids can stay up late, but to get the whole body clock going at 10 o'clock?
Yeah, I mean, it's there's a little bit of things. It's maybe as you're getting a little bit longer in your trip. It's two matches. It's not just going out there and playing one game, and you're there for a few days, and we've heard some different things, but look, you're going to have to figure it out. Every team is going to have to figure that out, or else you're not going to have an opportunity of winning championships. You've got to be able to go east. You've got to be able to go west. You've got to be able to, in our sport, you've got to, it could be an awful late match, on our body clock time. But I think one of the things that we try to talk about is, we want to be a program that'll play anyone, anywhere, anytime. And those just can't be words. You've got to be able to, when it's time, when it's go time, let's go. And but there's a routine that we'll try to stick to, and these are 20-year-old kids. They're typically up, I think, at the 10 o'clock hour traditionally. Morgan Van Wee may not be. She might be somebody that's in bed typically pretty early, but the rest of them ought to be all right. I'm more worried about me at my age than I am their age of being on.
Just a quick follow-up on that. Are you guys doing anything fun on the West Coast trip? And just how cool of an experience can that be just for anybody heading out to California, maybe first time or whatever it may be?
I mean, it's a business trip at the end of it, right? I mean, you got to. It's we try to let's have the main thing be the main thing. The day between we'll. Charlie lives out there, and I think she lives in Hermosa Beach. I think she's about a block away from the sand. So I think we'll go and see her house, and probably have a yoga session out there, sand between the feet, and but 60 degrees. Hopefully the sun's out. But if that's fun, I don't know. I'm sure it'll be fun for her and for some of them, but that's about it. Between serving passes and watching film and spending time in LA traffic, there's probably not a whole lot of downtime going to happen.
And I know you guys are looking forward, but just how big was that Penn State match? Obviously nationally televised, a huge win, a sweep over a top 3 team. Just how big was that for this team, and did it teach you anything about this team, or does it just kind of confirm what you already knew?
I think we've all seen glimpses of how good this team can be. But have we been able to do it for 2 hours against a top 5 team? We haven't been able to do it. One of the interesting things is we've had a lot of opportunities against top 5 teams, and we've played a pretty tough schedule, and but we stacked good for a long time. I loved how we responded. A great example is that Lola goes on that long run in the second set, and then they side out. Awesome reaction by the crowd. How often do you see a standing ovation when the other team scores? But I think that was an appreciation, clearly, of what we were stringing together. And what do we do after that? We stick the next pass, first ball side out, and we've got the serve again. And after errors, we usually stuck the next pass. We usually our side out percentage after one of our errors was really, really hard. And that you're suffocating your opponents when you're doing that. You're just not giving them any room to get on runs. And we did as good of a job as that as this team has done.
Sarah's obviously had a lot of good moments here. For the weekend, she had 65 swings, I think, with no errors.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes our world's always looking for the next big thing to come along. And if you've been good for a while, you can kind of get overlooked or forgotten. How do you feel her game has grown now, and what is she doing better than what she may have done last year when she won all the awards?
Well, statistically, I think every part of her game is better than what it was last year. I think the biggest area of her growth has just been when things are tough, she's a lot calmer. That'd be something she would try to. When things got tough, she'd try to, wrestle the situation, and sometimes she could be her worst enemy or her teammate's own worst enemy or her head coach's worst enemy because, the competitive nature of her. She's been able to, she is calmer. I think the joy of the game is coming out of her more often without her competitiveness taking a dip. I think sometimes some players have this thing where if they're enjoying the moment, then that means they're less competitive, and I don't think that's certainly the case. But I see more joy coming out of her and calmer in stressful situations. I think that can be big. It sounds little, but it actually makes it a little bit easier to play with you when you're in that place. I think. That'd probably be a big area of her growth.
Just coming down to the end of the regular season here, and 3 of the next 4 games are against ranked teams. Do you like where your team is at heading into this stretch, and just how crucial is it in terms of putting yourself in a position to win the conference?
Yeah, but you could have asked me 5 days ago, do I like where our team is at? And I'd probably say we've got a lot of growth. It's not a permanent state of where we're in. It's, we've got to continue to get better. We like who we're capable of being, but if you kind of think about it, the last 5 matches, we've got a freshman libero who's received more balls than everybody else on our team combined, twice as many as everybody else on our team combined. Who's taken the second ball? We've got a freshman setter, and so, the majority of you can look at our roster and say this is a really experienced team, and we've got a lot of experience on it, but not necessarily the people that are touching the ball the most are the most experienced. And there's, a lot of times freshmen wear down. This season, state high school championships are happening this past weekend at most states, and so we've still got, weeks, if not month and a half to go. And how are they wearing down or are they building up? That's certainly something that we're trying to pay attention to and help. It's but we played awfully well this past week, and I would say, minus the Nebraska match, we played pretty well for about a month. And so is that an aberration that match, or is it something that brings you concern? I guess you can write a story on either one of those things. It's just that's why the critical element is let's continue to build this thing up and keep having this mindset of let's go back to the film, let's see what it's teaching us, let's get back in the practice gym, let's get a little bit better, let's take care of the rest of the elements of our lives, go out and get your flu shots, and let's keep moving forward.
Just checking, I know Chris has said something about a reduction in the number of student athletes at the school down the road because of the House settlement. I'm just wondering, how have the numbers impacted how many players you're signing this week, if there's any more or less than you thought there might be? And do you know your roster limit yet for 25-26?
Yeah, I do know what our well, everybody knows what our roster limit is, right? It's posted out there for every sport, but it will. There is the equation of the transfer portal that hasn't been much of an equation of how you are actually going to build your roster. I mean, I think we were always open to transfers, but now I think it's part of maybe actually building your roster, which is probably a little bit different. I don't know. I think what we're trying to do is go after the elite high school players. And then whatever number that is, we're not going to go beyond anybody that we'd consider elite because you don't have to with the portal. You don't need to just fill your roster with maybe a non what we consider maybe an elite high school player for those scholarships because you've got the portal to kind of fill that out. And so these were the players that we identified that could really help us. They've had a lot of success, strong character, all that stuff that you're looking for. And we've got a few positions that that we'll go after in the portal and see if they can't help us out that way.